Am I audible?
Start the stopwatch. The moment water is added to the cement. Stopwatch ચાલુ કરી દેવાની. પાણી ત્યારે પાણી તમે એડ કરો ને સિમેન્ટની અંદર ત્યારથી તમારી સ્ટોપવોચ ચાલુ કરી દેવાની. બરાબર? પછી
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, can you just unmute your? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I have unmuted. I am also hearing.
Yeah, okay, sir. That's what. Yeah. Okay, sir. Sir, shall we wait for 2-3 minutes, sir?
Yeah.
Let us start sharp at 10 o'clock, sir.
Yeah.
Fine, fine. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I am ready anytime you can.
Oh, okay, sir. Just 2-3 minutes. That's all. Okay, fine, sir.
Okay, fine.
సార్ వాళ్ళ ఇంటి దగ్గర సార్ అదే రోడ్డు పక్కలోనే ఉన్నట్టున్నాడు.
Let us now see how
Sir, once again, good morning, sir. Let us start the presentation, sir. Yeah. Let me introduce you, then you can start your presentation, sir. Participants.
Yes. Okay.
Participants, good morning, all. I welcome you on the fourth day of faculty development program. Today we have Dr. V. Ramachandra, is the joint president and head technical services, Ultratech Cement Limited, Mumbai. So I'll give brief introduction about Dr. V. Ramchandra, then Sir will take over. Dr. V. Ramchandra did his BE from University Visvesvaraya College of Engineering, Bangalore, MTech Marine Structures from NIT Surathkal, and PhD in Structural Engineering. Professional experience, Professor of Civil Engineering at SIT Tumkur for 20 years. 2005, he became Zonal Head South Technical Services, Ultratech Cements, Bangalore. And 2016, he became Head Technical Services, Ultratech Cement, Mumbai. Some initiations of Dr. V. Ramchandra for the construction industry. Technology demonstration projects on weight topping in Bangalore, Chennai, and Hyderabad. Alternative technologies for mass housing projects. Development of new cements and products. Professional organization, industry, as well as academy. Former Vice President, Indian Concrete Institute. Member, Academic Council in several autonomous institutions. Member of Board of Studies, Civil Engineering in various universities, institutions. Member, Handbook on Precast Concrete Constructions. And member, Niti Aayog Subcommittee on Mass Housing. Currently, as I told you, Joint President and Head Technical Services, Ultratech Cement Limited, Mumbai. Member, Rigid Pavement Committee, Indian Road Congress, New Delhi. Member, Civil Engineering Division Council, Bureau of Indian Standards, BIS, New Delhi. And Learnings Abroad. Member, Indian Delegation to ISO to Japan, 2017 and USA 2019. Invited speakers at Kumamoto University, Japan. Member, Industry Delegation to Indonesia, Australia, Europe, and USA. So we have a very good resource person who has extensive knowledge in the area of concrete and construction of white topping. So I welcome Sir once again. So Dr. V. Ramchandra, sir, I request you go ahead with your presentations.
Yeah. A very good morning to you, Professor, and that is for your nice introduction in the morning. And a very good morning to all of you participants. The topic of my discussion today is about white topping. All of you must have heard of this term white topping. Then you may also wonder, what is this called white topping? Is there something like black topping? Yes, black topping is normally referred to for bitumen roads. White topping is referred for the concrete overlay that we put on bituminous roads. Compared to bitumen roads, concrete roads look whiter, therefore it is called as white topping by the IRC, Indian Roads Congress. There is a special publication, there is a code also on white topping published by IRC. Now, before going ahead, a small difference between what we call as concrete roads and white topping. Now, concrete roads are those which are constructed right from the basics. That means you make the subgrade, the subbase, and above that a concrete layer. That is generally called as a concrete road. In case of white topping, what happens is that there is an already existing bitumen road which was constructed long back, and every time we are putting overlays on of bitumen. So that bitumen road is already there. Over and above that, instead of removing the whole thing and redoing the whole thing, we treat that existing bitumen layer as a support system, as a base for concrete road, and above that we put just one layer of concrete, and this layer is relatively a very thin layer. It is hardly about 150 mm. Normal concrete road thickness would be about 250 or even 300 millimeters. Whereas in this case, it is half of it, just 150 millimeters. That is why it is called as white topping. Therefore, with this background of information on what is white topping, let us go ahead. I hope, Professor, I am audible as well as my slides are visible. Let me go ahead. Now, these are the things that I wish to cover in this program today. These are the things that I am going to cover today. These are the contents. What are the current challenges for our Indian roads? And introduction to white topping. What are the benefits? What are the construction aspects? Case studies, and then conclusion. My presentation today has two parts. This is the first part of the presentation, just to know about white topping. The next session, this may take about 45-50 minutes. After this, we will have a session of question answer session. And in the second round, I would be taking up the sustainability issues related to concrete roads or white topping, and also the possible reasons for distress on concrete roads, and how do we maintain them or repair these things. Now let us go ahead with to understand what is white topping. What are the current challenges that we have on our Indian roads? As you all know, potholes are the biggest threat to our country. And just to give you some numbers, pothole related deaths in our country, there were close to 3,600 deaths in India in the year 2017. So in the same time, in the year 2017, deaths related to terror related incidents due to terrorists, about 800 people died, but only due to potholes, 3,600 people died. Therefore, just look at how serious this problem is. Therefore, yes, I agree, terrorism is a very big problem, but much more than that is the problem with these potholes, which we are not aware of. Therefore, having a pothole-free road should be our aim. Now, white topping can provide an excellent solution, particularly to eliminate potholes. Now, there is a High Court judgment also of the High Court of Maharashtra. They have said that right to good roads is a part of fundamental rights of citizens. This judgment has come in the year 2015. That was when somebody who was affected by the quality of roads in Maharashtra, they filed a petition in the High Court. They said because of potholes, somebody died in their family, and they went to the High Court. And High Court has said that demanding good roads is a part of our fundamental rights as a citizens of this country. Therefore, why I am saying this is that to have good roads is very essential for our country, and we all should strive for that. Friends, as all of you know, your professors have taught you that there are mainly two types of roads that we have. One is called as the flexible pavement, which is a bitumen pavement. The other one is a rigid pavement, that is concrete pavement. There is one third variety also called as composite pavements. In fact, white topping comes under that composite pavements. That is, you have the bitumen layer below, and above that you have a rigid layer. Sometimes it is also called as a composite pavement. Now, what were we doing earlier? What was our past choice? We were normally, India was going in for bitumen pavements always. What was the reason? It was because lack of funds was one of the reasons. Earlier days, in 70s, 80s and all that, the cost of bitumen was very low, and whatever you can build, the cost of building 1 kilometer of concrete road, you can build 2 to 2.5 kilometers of bitumen road. Therefore, 1:2.5. So people thought, why do I spend money and build only 1 kilometer of concrete road? With the same money, I can build 2 or 2.5 kilometers of bitumen road. Therefore, that is always better for me. Therefore, let me go in for bitumen roads. But today, that is not the situation. Bitumen prices have gone up very steeply in recent decades. Therefore, the comparison between concrete pavements and bitumen pavements, even if you consider new roads, apple to apple comparison, if you consider, the cost difference is not much. It is hardly about 10%. Therefore, this reason is not valid today. Second thing is amenability to stage construction. In case of bitumen pavements, suppose we design that we need to have so much of thickness of bitumen Maybe as engineers, we would decide, no, I don't have so much of money today. Therefore, let me construct only a small thickness now and add some more thickness 2 years later and some more thickness another 2 years later. That means stage construction is possible in case of bitumen pavements. Whereas in case of concrete pavements, this facility is not there. Either earlier or even now, we should not be constructing concrete pavements in stages. That means, suppose you are putting concrete roof to your house and the thickness of the concrete roof is, let us say, 6 inches or 150 millimeters. You can't say, no, I don't have so much of money. Therefore, let me just build 2 inches now, 2 inches after 2 years, and 2 inches after another 2 years or 4 years. You cannot build a concrete structure like that. Therefore, that is one issue that you have with concrete roads. You cannot build them in stages. You have to build it once for all. But once you build it, it will give an excellent life for a very long time, not like bitumen roads. Now, the third point is that correction to defective construction is possible in case of bitumen roads. That means when you are constructing a bitumen road, suppose you make a mistake somewhere and there is a pothole. Now, covering up that pothole or covering up that bad construction can be done very fast. That correction is possible to any defective construction in case of bitumen roads. Whereas in case of concrete roads, earlier that was not possible, but today I will explain that in the second half of my lecture today. It is possible to correct any defective construction in concrete roads because there are a lot of materials and methods are available. Indian codes of practice also are available. Earlier in 1960s and 70s, shortage of cement was also a problem. But today that is not a problem. India produces enough and even more quantities of cement. And last point is that lack of mechanization. See, earlier in 70s and 80s, mechanical production or machine production of concrete was not there. That means ready-mix concrete plants, earlier they were not there. Today, you can see in the country, there are more than 100 cities where ready-mix concrete plants are there. And even if they are not there in your place, you can always have small batching plants which can be taken from one place to the other that can produce a very consistent concrete, very good quality of concrete for concrete roads. And it is not only production, but also paving, making the roads. It is not a manual construction today. It is done by equipments called paver machines. And in paver machines, there are different categories. We will see that later. Therefore, in the past, we were going in for bituminous roads for all these reasons that I have explained to you. But today, the conditions are more favorable for the construction of concrete roads. Now, what is the condition of our Indian roads today? Now, the roads are all designed for 10 tons capacity, but today we have more than 30 tons roads, 30 ton vehicles moving on our roads. There is a very heavy overloading, and the high design life of 20 to 30 years is a necessity today. In case of bitumen roads, whatever you construct, if you construct the best bitumen road as per IRC standards, the life of that bitumen road is 5 years. And after 5 years, you have to go on adding another layer of bitumen above that. The wearing coat, you have to put it again. Whereas in case of concrete road, you construct it today and the next 25 to 30 years or even more than that, you need not put another layer of concrete. Therefore, the life expectancy or the durability of concrete roads is always much, much higher. And therefore, you don't have to spend money every 2 years, every 3 years for maintenance. Resource for maintenance, you can conserve. And these days, life cycle costing is gaining importance. I told you initially concrete roads may be expensive, but then if you take the life cycle cost, that means the total cost over a period of 25 years or 30 years, concrete roads are much, much cheaper than bitumen roads. And concrete roads also contribute to sustainability. This part I will cover in my second part of the lecture. Now, this is the photograph of the Marine Drive Road in Mumbai. It is a cement concrete road. It was constructed in the year 1939. In 1939, there was no ready-mix concrete that was available. It was manual concrete. There were no pavers, and with manual paving, this was done in 1939. Now, you would appreciate that Mumbai, of course, road traffic, as you can see, even in 1940s, the road traffic was there. And more than that, it is just next to the sea. Therefore, what we talk about the chloride attack, saltwater effect of seawater on the roads and its subgrade, it is always there 24/7. Now, this road, which was constructed in 1939, how many years it lasted? It lasted for more than 70 years, more than 70 years, 73 years to be precise. Therefore, after 1939, it was only in the year 2012, just 8 years back, a new layer of concrete was put over and above that earlier layer. Therefore, this road in Marine Drive has lived for 70 plus years. It has given an excellent service to the man. Now, there are several other examples. You take the Mumbai-Pune Expressway, which is built in 1990s. Already it has given service for more than 25 years. And this Mumbai-Pune Expressway is giving an excellent service to the nation. The recent one, the Yamuna Expressway between Noida and Agra, and the extension of that Agra onwards. Right, I am now talking of the first phase of 165 kilometers roads. This is a 8-lane concrete road, and you can see the view of this 165 meters. It is an expressway. People travel at a speed of 140, 150 kilometers per hour, and this is the sports stadium that is there on the one side of it. You can see the road. The quality of road is so good. And let me tell you, one advantage of this road is that it is built with blended cements. Blended cements, that is PPC. It is not built with OPC. It is built with PPC. Generally, I have heard people saying that, if you are constructing anything with high strength concrete, let us say M40 or M45 grade of concrete, some people say that you should always use OPC and a 53 grade cement. But then this is built with PPC, Portland Pozzolana cement, which is a blended cement with 30% fly ash. Now, you can look at the quality and performance of this road. This is not inferior to any roads that you see in advanced countries. This is as good or even better than that. These are all some of the other views. And in fact, this road, which is close to Delhi, I should also tell you that this has also been tried out. Of course, when the traffic was stopped, even for the Air Force planes, Air Force plane, in case of emergency, they can land on this road. That also has been tried on this road. Now, coming back to bitumen pavements, as you all know, bitumen pavements have a lot of problems. Don't look at the color of the bus and think that only that particular city is very bad and my city is very good and all that. Maybe I'm not just showing one photograph of Tamil Nadu. This is the problem everywhere. Any city you take after a rainy season, particularly if the rains are very high rains you get, this is the kind of potholes that you get almost in every city in India, whether it is Hyderabad or Vijayawada or Bangalore or Delhi, wherever it is. Now, sometimes we wonder whether we are doing rainwater harvesting on our roads. It is so bad sometimes. That is the state of bitumen roads. Though we say that bitumen roads should stay for 5 years at least, many places we have seen it goes bad even after 2 years. 1.5, 2 years, 3 years, it goes very bad, so that you will have to again put one more layer of bitumen. You can't wait for 5 years. Whereas we did a study in Chennai. This was the state of roads, bitumen roads. Whereas white topping, which was done in Chennai since 2012, Chennai has done more than 100 kilometers of white topping, and we studied the condition of this white topping after 7 years and very high floods in Chennai. After very high floods in Chennai, this is the status of concrete roads in Chennai. You can see this after very heavy floods, water standing on the roads for 7-8 days. Concrete roads had no problem, whereas bitumen roads deteriorated. Therefore, my point is that concrete pavements, they offer a very cost-effective and a very sustainable solution to India's roads. That is what I would like to say. Now, before we go to the design aspects of these concrete roads, let me tell you a few things about this, about the load and its distribution. Your professors have taught you in strength of materials that pressure or stress is always equal to load divided by area. Now, if a load of, let us say, 3000 kgs is moving on a road, 3000 kgs is the load. Therefore, what is the pressure or what is the stress on concrete? What is the stress on the pavement below that? Therefore, it is load divided by the cross-sectional area. Now, this is the difference between concrete pavements and bitumen pavements. In the second thing, what you are seeing here, in case of bitumen pavements, if load is coming on the road, it gets because this pavement is flexible, the load gets distributed to the wearing coat, the subbase, and the subgrade. All of them, they take this load. Therefore, the load is distributed over a small area of cross section. Therefore, load divided by small area of cross section will give you a stress or a pressure. In this case, the pressure is 2 MPa. Whereas in case of concrete roads, load gets, because the pavement is rigid, it is a rigid pavement, it acts like a bridge. Therefore, it gets distributed over a larger surface area. Therefore, the same load of 3000 divided by a large surface area will give you a small value of stress. In this case, it is 0.2 MPa or even less than 0.2 MPa. Whereas in case of bitumen roads, it is 2. The ratio is more than 10. 0.2 and 2, the ratio is more than 10. That is the reason why in case of concrete roads, the stresses on the pavement is much less than what you see in bitumen roads. That is the reason for the long life of the structure. Now I have a question to you, but only thing is that in a digital lecture, you can't answer. Anyway, this is a question that I generally ask the students whenever I give this. You consider two cases. You consider an elephant moving on the road, and you consider a lady like Aishwarya Rai walking on the roads. Now, this is the comparison that I am trying to make. Who damages the roads most? If elephant is walking on the road, please remember, elephants, they weigh 4,000 kgs. One elephant weighs 4,000 kgs. A 4,000 kg weight moving on the road and Aishwarya Rai moving on the road, who damages the road most? This is the question to you. Now, the answer comes. Let us analyze scientifically. Now you take Aishwarya Rai as well as elephant. I know elephants generally weigh around 4,000 kgs. I really do not know how much Aishwarya Rai weighs, but I have assumed for my own calculation that she weighs only 60 kgs. That is the assumption that I have made. She weighs 60 kgs, let us say. She stands on shoes of pointed heels and toes. A high-heeled shoes, she walks on that. Therefore, load divided by the area. Therefore, the pressure is equal to 60 kgs, that is the load, divided by 2 legs, and each of them has 2 shoes and 2 points into 5 square centimeter per point. That is the area of cross-section. Therefore, if you divide it by all that, you will get a pressure of 3 kg per square centimeters. Or 0.3 Newton per millimeter squared if you are used to SI units. Let's say in kg per square centimeters, it comes to 3 kg per square centimeter. Now let us go to elephant. Elephant weighs 4,000 kgs, as I said, and it stands on 4 legs. Stands on 4 legs, and each of these legs is quite wide. Each leg measures 20 by 20 square centimeter per leg. Therefore, you calculate load by area, 4,000 divided by 4 into 20 and 20. The pressure comes to 2.5 kg per square centimeters. Therefore, now the question is answered. Aishwarya Rai walking on road damages the road much more than an elephant walking on the road. This is what I wanted to say. Why I have taken these two examples is just to tell you that the load does not matter. What matters on roads, that is in the design you have to take into account, the damage occurs always due to pressure and not the load. That is what I wanted to say. Now, let us get into this introduction. What is white topping? As I said earlier, you have the base, you have the subgrade. Above that, you have the subbase. Above that, you have the bitumen pavement already made. And this bitumen pavement, as you can see here, it is all deteriorated. There are a lot of cracks, rutting, and deterioration on this bitumen pavement. Therefore, what we do is we take out or we mill about the top 1.5 inches of this is milled out. Milling is done just to remove the top 1.5 inches of surface. The remaining surface always remains. And above that, you put about 6 inches of concrete road. That becomes white topping. That is called as white topping. Over the bituminous road, you put a concrete road, it is called as white topping. Now, one thing that you should observe here is the joints, the horizontal joints or the transverse joints, the longitudinal joints. The joints are all at the very close spacing. Normally on a concrete road, the spacing will be around 3.5 meters to 4.5 meters. Whereas in case of white topping, it will be 1 meter or 1.2 meter by 1.2 meter. Therefore, the spacing would be much less. Let us discuss about that further. Now, as I said, concrete overlay on an existing bitumen surface is called as white topping. This is not a new technology. This started in the USA and Europe, America and Europe long back in 1900 and 1920s this started. And this is used for all kinds of roads, whether it is interstate roads, primary and secondary highways, urban roads, airport, for all of them this white topping is used. And this PCC, plain cement concrete that you put, generally the grade of this concrete is M40. This overlay that we put, it may be or may not be bonded to the bitumen layer below. Now, what do we mean by this? That definitely there will be some bonding. Old bitumen layer is there. You have milled that. Above that, you have put a concrete layer. Therefore, definitely there is some bonding. Whether you consider that bonding in the design or not, irrespective of that, it may be bonded or it can be unbonded also. Before we go to this difference between bonded and unbonded, let us look at what is white topping history in India. This white topping in India started around 2000, 2002 in places like Mumbai, Pune, Nagpur, and later on it came to Chennai. Bangalore it came, and then in South India, first road was done in Bangalore, followed by Chennai and then Hyderabad. Indian Roads Congress, based on the practical experience in Mumbai, Pune, etc., they brought out a special publication, SP76, in the year 2008. Then it was revised in 2015. This is the first IRC code, SP76. Then the later revised one that is there right now is this SP76 of 2015. This is the latest code that you can get a soft copy, hard copy of this code from the IRC website. Now, before we go ahead on white topping, let us look at the economics. This is the first question that people will ask you. Compared to my bitumen road, how much expensive is the white topping? As I said earlier, if you are comparing new concrete road and new bitumen road, the difference is hardly 10%. Whereas in case of white topping, the difference could be around 20 to 25%. Let us take one standard case and see. For a standard case, for a very standard case of 1 kilometer road, 2 lane, that means 2 lane means each lane is 3.5 meters wide. That means the width of the road is 2 lane means 7 meters, 1 kilometer length, and the thickness of concrete is 150 mm. And of course, it is designed based on the IRC code. And we designed the bitumen road also based on the IRC 37. What will be the cost of, this is for a particular city. This I think last time I calculated it for Hyderabad city. The total cost was coming to about 63.5 lakhs per kilometer, around 63 lakhs. Whereas white topping would cost 76 lakhs. That means about 21% higher than bitumen road. That means the initial cost is high by 21%. Let us look at the maintenance cost. Initial cost I have taken from the previous slide, 63 for bitumen, 76 for white topping. Now after 5 years, you have to put a bitumen concrete of 25 mm, that would cost 18 lakhs. After 10 years, you have to put DBM of 40, dense bitumen macadam of 40 and BC 25, that comes to 45 lakhs. Another 5 years, that means 15 years later, again one more BC you have to put, it will cost 18 lakhs. Therefore, the total cost of construction will come to 144 lakhs. Whereas in case of concrete white topping, initial costing is 76.7 lakhs. Maintenance is bare minimum. That is only, just maintenance of these joints. I have taken a very rough cost of 5 lakhs. It will not cost 5 lakhs also. Hardly it may cost 1 or 2 lakhs, not more than that. Now I have taken 5 lakhs. Even then it comes to 91 lakhs. If you take the life cycle costing for 20 years, white topping would cost 91 lakhs. In the same 20 years, bitumen roads would cost 144 lakhs. I have taken the present worth of all these values. Therefore, you can see that concrete roads are much, much cheaper in the long run if you consider 20 years or 30 years of life. Now, let us come back to these two terms that I was explaining to you, bonded overlay and unbonded overlay. Now, if there is a layer in between, that means suppose the old bitumen layer, before putting the concrete layer, suppose you put a plastic sheet. That means old bitumen layer, above that there is a plastic sheet, and above that you put a concrete layer. That means there is no bonding between the concrete layer and the bitumen layer, right? That is what the second case is. Now the concrete layer is there, below that bitumen layer is there. Because there is a separation in between, it is an unbonded pavement. In case of an unbonded pavement, whenever the load comes on this structure, whenever a vehicle moves on the road, how do they bend? They bend independently. Separately, they would bend. Concrete slab would bend in a concave way, and bitumen also bends in the same concave fashion. Therefore, you have tension compression in bitumen separately, tension compression in concrete separately, right? This is how it bends. Now, if you don't put a plastic sheet in between, there is no need. There is no need actually. If you directly put concrete over the milled bitumen surface, there is some roughness of the surface. Therefore, there is always some amount of bonding between concrete and bitumen. Now, if there is bonding, what happens? Tension comes at the bottom. That means bitumen can take up tension because it is a flexible material, and compression concrete can definitely take. At the interface, at the joint between concrete and bitumen, there is either zero stress or very, very less flexural stress, flexural tensile stress. Therefore, concrete is always designed for the flexural stress in case of roads. So it can always take this particular thing, this load. There are actually, if you look at the varieties of white topping, there are 3 varieties of white topping. One is called as the conventional white topping, where the thickness of the overall thickness of concrete surface is 200 millimeters or 8 inches. If you put 8 inches of concrete or 200 millimeters, it is called as a conventional white topping. And in this case, it treats the existing bitumen surface below that just as an overlay, so very similar to dry-lean concrete. And the condition of existing surface is not significant. Don't worry about how much the bitumen road is deteriorated, and the bond between them is anyway not considered. Therefore, in this is called as conventional white topping. The next one, thin white topping. Thin white topping is what you see in most of the city roads today. You see thin white topping. In this case, the overlay thickness, the thickness of concrete is between 100 and 200 millimeters. That means 4 inches to say 8 inches is what the thickness of this white topping is. The bond between layers is considered but not mandatory. But look at the last sentence here. The joints are always at a very short spacing of 0.6 to 1.2 meters both ways. It will be a short spacing. I'll show you the photographs on this. The third variety is called as ultra thin white topping. Ultra thin white topping, as the name itself says, the thickness is less than 4 inches. The thickness is less than 100 mm. Therefore, it is called as ultra thin white topping. Generally, this is not used for Indian roads. It is used only for our internal roads where heavy traffic is not likely to be there. Suppose you have a colony, the inside roads of a small colony or a gated community, there we can use 3 inches, 4 inches of concrete. And even in this case, the shorter spacing joints are at a shorter spacing, 0.6 to 1.25. Therefore, the 3 types of white topping, they are just dependent on the total thickness. If it is up to 200 millimeters, it is called as, 200 millimeters and above, it is called as conventional white topping. If it is between 100 to 200, it is called as thin white topping. And if it is less than 100, it is called as ultra thin white topping. But what I generally discuss about when I say white topping, the second one, that is the thin white topping, is more popular, and that is what is normally followed on our Indian roads. Yes, here you can see in this photograph, the joints that you see, the groove cutting that you see are very close. This is the case of road number 10, Banjara Hills in Hyderabad, where this road is still done. It is already 6-7 years now. It is giving an excellent service, and you can see the joints are hardly 1 meter by 1 meter. 1 meter by 1 meter, not like the earlier concrete roads of 3.5 or 4.5 meters. Now, your professors have taught you in strength of materials that the stresses are directly proportional to the span. If it is a fully supported subgrade, it is proportional to L. Therefore, if length or the span is more, definitely the bending moment would be much more. The span is less, bending moment is always less. Therefore, lesser span of 1 meter always helps in reducing the bending moment, reducing the flexure on concrete roads. Therefore, the thickness also would be reduced. It is not like 250 or 300 mm. It is hardly 150 mm. This is the reason. That is, reason is because the spacing is reduced. Now, how does it act? Some more structure, one more slide on the structural behavior of these pavements. As you can see here, this is the case of bonded pavements. Unbonded pavement. The first one is an unbonded pavement where the concrete stresses across the depth. You have the compression and tension in concrete, similar compression and tension in bitumen. Whereas in case of bonded layers, you can see the tensile zone, tension zone in concrete is very, very minimum, and the stresses are also less. Tensile stresses are less. Compressive stresses are more in concrete. Concrete is very good in compression, therefore it can take this compression. And entire tension comes in the bitumen road, bitumen or the asphalt pavement, right? That is the advantage in this. Now, because of this, how much of stress would reduce? And for this, I have just taken one particular case of what is called as Nice Road in Bangalore. This was the calculation done for that. If you consider no bonding and 100% bonding, in between these two conditions, let us say we consider 25% bonding. As you can see here, the stress reduction, even if there is 25% bonding, the stresses are reduced by 26%. If there is 100% bonding, then the stresses are reduced by 58%. Huge decrease in the stresses in case of concrete road. Therefore, if there is no bonding, the stress on concrete comes to 6 MPa. And if it is 25% bonding, the stress will come to 4.4, which means 26% less. And if there is 100% bonding, it comes to 2.5 MPa. This is what you are seeing in this graph. The stress in concrete greatly reduces due to consideration of bonding. Second thing is the panel size. I said normally if you take a 4 meter by 4 meter panel, compared to that, in case of 1 meter by 1 meter panel that I said we do in white topping, the stresses are reduced by 42%. Therefore, if you add these two stresses, that means stresses due to bonding plus stresses due to spacing, reduction of spacing, the reduction in stresses, totally it will come to 69 or even 70%. Therefore, compared to the stresses on normal concrete road of 4 meter by 4 meter, their stress reduction is 70%. That is the reason why you will have lesser thickness of white topping. Now, I am saying that, white topping is best and very good and very good. But there are certain cases where white topping is not an option. We should also know when white topping is very good in most of the time, but white topping is not an option in at least in some cases. What are these cases? That means when the subgrade or subbase continuity is not there. That means when the subgrade and subbase, they are different. Sometimes you will have this case in case of bitumen road. Earlier road was, let us say, 5 meters. Then there was an expansion of the road on both sides. There was a widening and it has become now 7 meters. Now there is no subgrade continuity. Then it becomes a correction that is possible. You can put one layer of DLC, that is drying concrete, and over that you can put white top. Then second thing is, condition of the existing bitumen surface should be sound. That means it should be free from cracks. Now the third condition is that I told you the top 1 inches you should mill it out, and if you mill it out, there should be a minimum of 75 mm of bitumen for good composite action. This is another condition. Now over the layers you have put layers of bitumen. That remaining layer of bitumen should be at least 75 mm. Otherwise white topping will not be effective. In case it is not 75 mm, whatever is the difference, you can put a dryling concrete to that thickness, and above that you can put white topping. So solutions are available. Now, what are the benefits of white topping? What are the advantages of white topping? There is as I said, bitumen roads can stay for only 5 years, whereas white topping can be there for 20 to 25 years. And there is a fuel saving and emission reduction. Probably I will explain to you in my second half of my lecture. And there is energy saving, road safety is much better, sustainability is much better, much superior. Each one of this I will explain to you in my second half of the lecture. Cost comparison, I have already done it, therefore let us go ahead. Now, braking distance, road safety. Braking distance, all of you know that when you apply brakes, if you are going on a car or a bus or whatever, you apply brakes, after what distance it stops. In case of bitumen roads, it will stop at 190 feet, whereas in case of concrete roads, dry concrete surface, 162 feet is sufficient enough. Whereas bitumen takes 190 feet. Therefore, the braking distance is always least in case of concrete road. If you take a wet surface, still concrete roads are better compared to asphalt. You can see the difference between 316 feet in case of concrete road and asphalt surface. If it is a rutted or deteriorated concrete bitumen surface, it will take a longer distance of 440 millimeters. Therefore, from safety point of view also, concrete roads are better. Sustainability of concrete pavements. Maybe this we can see later. As you can see here on the right hand side, if you have a few electric poles, because concrete roads are white, the reflection of light is always better. On the left hand side, on the right hand side, same amount of electric poles are there, same number of electric poles are there, whereas you can see how dark the bitumen road is and how whitish the concrete road is. Near Belgaum, the National Highway Golden Quadrilateral, for comparison of this photograph is also from there. One side is concrete road, another side is bitumen road. Just to study the performance, this is built like this. Concrete roads are always better. How do we start? How do we start the construction aspects? Let us now come to the construction aspects. Now, in case of concrete road, I mean, before doing anything, we should characterize the existing bitumen road. That means, what is the condition of existing bitumen road by visual inspection, and we should conduct laboratory and field tests, whether we do the Benkelman beam test or the falling weight deflectometer test to determine the roughness of the surface or the subgrade reaction, modulus of subgrade reaction. To determine that, we should do these tests. And then coming to the PQC requirement, that is pavement quality concrete requirement, we should always go for M40 grade of concrete, so that the flexural strength would be in the range of 4.5 Newton per millimeter square. Now the cement content, what should be the cement content, what should be the slump, this should be left to the designers. When we do the mixed design, we can always ensure that the cement content need not be very high. We need not go to the maximum level of 450 kg per meter cube of concrete. We can try to work out by trials. We can maybe around 400 kgs of cement, you get a good concrete mix. And what is the slump? It depends on the paver machine that you are using. And friends, today in concrete technology, you must have, oh, I think it went off. Yeah, I'll come back. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, in concrete technology, there is always, you can use admixtures, mineral admixtures and chemical admixtures. Mineral admixtures means you can use fly ash, you can use GGBS, that is a slag, round granulated slag, and you can use chemical admixtures. Use of chemical admixtures is very essential in case of high strength concrete. And this is about the slump test. We must always do the slump test. Friends, let me tell you, all of you do this test in the concrete lab, right? What you do, you take a slump cone, you make concrete, and you put concrete in 3 layers, and each layer you tamp it manually 25 times, and you fill it up to the top. Then you lift the slump cone. Then what you see is that concrete slumps like this. And then you measure the difference between the top surface, top level up to this, how much it has gone down or how much it has slumped, that you measure. Friends, I want to tell you that measurement of this slump, whether it is for 50 mm, 100 mm, that is not very important. What is important is the cohesiveness of concrete. What do you mean by cohesive concrete? It means there is no, the water doesn't come out of concrete. That is called bleeding. Aggregates should not come out of concrete. That is called segregate. Therefore, in the concrete, there should be no bleeding, there should be no segregation. As you can see in this photograph, there is no bleeding and no segregation. This is a cohesive concrete. In fact, when you do the slump test, you should look at the cohesion of concrete, not just the value of slump that you measure. That is not very important compared to what you measure here. Now, mixed proportioning and concrete strength, concrete grade of M40 or more. If you are going in for fast track construction, that means if the road has to be opened early for the traffic, then you have to go for M50 grade of concrete. High performance concrete is preferred. And water cement ratio should always be less than 0.4. Otherwise, the strength will get reduced. Preferably, it should be in the range of 0.3 to 0.38. And workability depends on the type of paving. And this is one statement that I would like to make. When you get if you want to get the higher strength of concrete, you will get it not by increasing the cement content. but by reducing the water content. People have this mentality that, if you want higher strength, you put more cement. No, that is not the thing. You can always get a higher strength by reducing the water content rather than the increasing the cement content. Now you have the water cement ratio, water in the numerator, cement in the denominator. Now you tend to increase the denominator. Instead of increasing the denominator, reduce the numerator, you will always get a better strength of concrete. And as per the code, if whatever the strength that you have designed for, suppose you have designed for M45 grade of concrete, 45 MPa to be achieved. If you achieve 2/3 of that, that means 2/3 of 45 is 30 MPa. If the road has achieved 30 MPa of strength, you can open it for traffic. Suppose M45 grade of concrete, you are able to achieve 30 MPa in 2 days or 3 days. The very next day, you can open the road for traffic. So, as I said, the concrete roads are designed for flexure. The limitation on nominal size of aggregates should be there, 20 or 16 millimeters. You should avoid flaky aggregates. You have conducted this flakiness index test in your laboratory. Good gradation of particles up to the micron size. Even the fine aggregates, coarse aggregates should have a good gradation. And you can go in for supplementary cementitious materials. I have already said this, like fly ash, like GGBS, and so on. And the paving of concrete overlay should be done at less than 35 degrees of day temperature. Therefore, if you are doing concrete road work during summer, if the day temperature is higher than 35 degrees, it is better to do concreting in the evening, or even night concreting is always the best. That will ensure that the concrete quality is very good. Now, other than this, what are the other methods or the other things that we should follow to ensure that concrete roads are good? Or in other words, how not to construct bad concrete roads? Let us see what are the methods of construction we have. Now, there are basically 3 methods of construction. One is called as the manual construction method. Another is the fixed form paving method. The third one is called as the slip form paving method. Let us consider the manual method first. This is the earlier method. Earlier, we were going in for manual construction method. These are all the equipments that are used for the manual construction method. And the concrete is brought in, tractors, and it is poured, and we work on it manually. This was the old method of construction. Do the manual construction, use the needle vibrator the way he is using it now, and use a plate vibrator for the surface and finish it. But today you have the mobile batching plants. You don't have to worry about RMCs are there or not, but concrete should always be produced in the batching plants like this or like this. You can see this batching plant is mobile. It can be taken from place to place. And it has bins or silos to store cement, sand, aggregates, water, and also admixture dosage is also dispensed as per the design. Therefore, you will get consistent quality of concrete. That was about the manual construction method. The next one is a fixed form paving. That means in this case, you see, these are all the equipments. I can share this with you later. These are the equipments that we need to have for fixed form paving. As you can see in this, there are two railings kind of a thing that are put at that is equal to the width of the concrete pavement. That means if the width of the pavement is, let us say, 5 meters, you put 2 railings on either side of that 5 meters, and you pour concrete into this space in between, and compact it. That is the fixed form. That means the form work is fixed. It doesn't move. So you have the paver machine that is standing there, which will compact this. Now, this paver machine, once you put concrete onto it, paver machine goes on that. Let us see how it works. As you can see in this, there are needle vibrators at regular intervals that you are seeing. And there is also a compression cylinder. It gives you a compression of 8 tons, a very strong compression plus vibration. Therefore, you have vibro compaction. Therefore, the quality of concrete would be much, much superior to manual construction. Now, next, let us go to slip form paving. In case of slip form paving, as the name itself says, it is not a fixed form. It is a slip form. These are all the equipments that are required. As you can see here, there is no channel that is put on either side. The equipment itself makes it a formwork, and as the equipment moves, the entire formwork also moves. You can see this small video for
Let us
this.
now see how a white topping road is constructed. The first physical activity on the white topping concrete road construction site will be milling. Milling is the process of removing the weak rotted top layer of the existing bitumen road using a miller. White topping work is done with a machine called a paver, which is either fixed form paver or slip form paver. The concrete for white topping work is normally grade M40. The compaction is achieved with vibrators and hydraulic pressing. After the paver machines complete their job, the concrete surface has to be finished similar to that of traveling. The high-end pavers are equipped with mechanical floaters, which do the job to a considerable extent. Texturing can be done either manually or mechanically. Once the texturing is completed, and when concrete starts stiffening, a layer of curing compound is sprayed uniformly on the surface and on the sides of the concrete. After around 8 to 12 hours of concreting, the pavement grooves are provided to a depth of 1/3 depth of concrete. Traffic can generally be allowed on the surface after 7 days.
Yes, that is called as the slip form paving. Now, once the road is done, we should texture that. Texturing is because, if the road becomes very smooth, then it will create skidding. Therefore, you should do texturing. This is called as a time texturing. It can be done manually. It can be done using the mechanical thing. Here you can see this was the paver used in Hyderabad. It has the attachment for both, smoothening the surface as well as for the texturing. Now, these are the different ways of texturing. This is called micro texturing, macro texturing, etc. Macro texturing gives a very uniform kind of texturing. And this is the finished surface showing the texturing. Now, after this, we should put what is called as curing compound. You should spray curing compound onto the surface. Okay, I think, somebody is spraying curing compound here. You can see that. And covering it with a plastic sheet is also another method. Why this to be done? It is to ensure that no surface cracks appear on concrete due to plastic shrinkage cracks. Generally, highly admixed concretes will have plastic shrinkage cracks. One way to eliminate that is to put a plastic sheet. Another way is to spray curing compound. It will make a thin wax layer on the surface to avoid cracking. After that, we must do curing by ponding for 3 days or 1 week till the road is open to the traffic, or it is covered with gunny bag rolls. And as far as the tests on concrete surface is concerned, tests are conducted in fresh concrete, that is a slump test. Hardened concrete, we take the cubes and you test its strength for 1 day, 7 days, 28 days, and so on. We do the beam test also to determine the flexural strength. As far as the strength of concrete after some time is concerned, we can take cores and determine the core strength. After, let us say, 10 years, if you take a core, you can determine what is the residual strength of concrete. To test the quality of pavements, you do the fatigue test and abrasion test. Now, this is the typical mix design of concrete. How many kgs of cement per meter cube of concrete and so on. These are the compressive strength for a particular project. flexural strength was more than 6.2 MPa. What is required is 4.5 MPa. Now, some case studies. Very quickly, I will take you through some case studies. This is the case study of an urban road in Pune. These are the project details. And this road is constructed for 30 years of life, 8 to 9 meter width. That was the width of the road. 150 to 160 mm was the depth of concrete. Yes, these are the details of technical specifications of this. 425 kgs of cement was used, additional GGBS was used, and so on. Now, cross pipes, cross ducts were provided at 50-meter intervals. Wherever the ducts were there, they were all marked so that for future accessing of utilities, it would be better. Now, let us take the example of one highway road. This is the outer ring road in Bangalore, which is called as a NICE road. NICE stands for Nandi Infrastructure Corridor Enterprises Road. This is about 10 kilometers and the design life, it's 20 years. Very heavy traffic on this, more than 8,500 commercial vehicles per day. Cars and other vehicles are not counted at all. Commercial vehicles are counted. Joint spacing is 1.2 by 1.2 meters. Thickness was designed as 180 millimeters. You can see the 1 day strength, 28 day strength of this concrete was 75 MPa. 1 day strength was 25. That is the beauty of this. These were all the different stages of construction. And this is the completed road of NICE road, Nandi road. This is near the toll gate. Near the toll gate, this is the concrete toll plaza. Okay. So during construction, the bitumen road and concrete road, the difference you can see by looking at the color, you can see the difference here, right? So these are all the different photographs of this. Therefore, thank you. I complete the first part of my presentation. Maybe we can take some questions now before going into the second part.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank you for your wonderful presentation on white topping. Sir, I request you kindly just to go through this chart box, sir. There are some questions.
Yes. Yeah.
Starting from 10:47, sir. 10:47 time.
1 second. Where can I access the chat? Yes. Here it is.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes. Yes, there are some questions. Okay. Some people have commented on Aishwarya Rai. That is good. Okay, fine. Yeah, 10:47. Does braking distance change with age for dry concrete? Yes, that's a good question. Braking distance does not change so much. Maybe some 5 to 10 feet it may change. It will not drastically change as the concrete ages. That is the question to this. Next question is role of abrasion in early opening of concrete pavement. Yes. See, ideally, concrete pavement should be opened after 7 days. Though we had to open one concrete road in Chennai, that is on Velachery Road. We opened it after 3 days because it had got sufficient strength as well as hardness. It had got in 3 days, we opened it on the 4th day morning. But I always recommend that after 7 days, you should open it for traffic, and that will take care of abrasion, good abrasion resistance also it would develop by that time. And then Sudhir Gaike had a question. Is there any need of adhesive layer between existing milled layer and the new concrete top layer for bonding? Now, as I said, the Indian Road Congress Code does not take any bonding between the two things. Therefore, if there is bonding, it is always better. Anyway, it is not taken into account in the design, therefore you don't have to worry about it. Even if there is no adhesion layer that is put, there is absolutely no problem. Can we use rice husk ash along with fly ash? Why not? any cementitious material, supplementary cementitious material is most welcome. But please remember one thing. Number one, you must do mix design before using this. Sufficient mix design. Rice husk ash, the only problem is of consistency in its quality. If you can get quality, I mean consistent quality rice husk ash, definitely you can use that. Then Rahul Kumar has asked this question, sir, why high blade cut is provided after make of white topping? Rahul, I think I told you that, the spacing of joints is very short in case of white topping. There are two things I want to tell you. One is the spacing is low so that there is lesser flexural stress. Second thing is this cutting these roads, it is not an entire depth cut. It is only cut at the top, not the entire depth. That means if the thickness of the concrete pavement is 150 millimeters, you will cut only the top 1/3. The top 1/3, that means only 50 millimeters you will cut, not the entire 150 millimeters. Now your question is, why are we cutting this? Now it is because if you cut concrete at regular intervals, whatever the possible cracks that may occur in concrete, it will occur just below this cut. Concrete should always crack wherever we want concrete to crack, not wherever concrete wants to crack. If you don't cut the joints properly within the proper time, even the time is important, within 16 to 18 hours of concreting you should cut. Then you will not have concrete cracks at the surface. That is the reason why it is cut. How can you do texturing manually? Say manual texturing, simple manual dragging with wire cuts that is available. Earlier they used to do it manually only. Please note, you are not doing texturing after concrete hardens. You are doing when concrete is in its fresh state. When concrete, not even half an hour after concreting, concrete is still very soft. On the soft concrete, you just drag a wire brush, you can do this texturing. It is possible. But you can't do texturing after say 10 hours or 15 hours. That will not be possible. Then the next question from Mr. SB is, I wonder, why can't white topping roads be taken up for new roads instead of renovating the old damaged blacktop roads? Does the economics change? Yes, the economics changes. As I said, compared to the blacktop roads, I have given you the costing also. Instead of blacktopping, once again, if you go for white topping, you may be spending 20-21% more money today, but then the next 25 years, 30 years, you will not spend any money. Therefore, it definitely makes an economic sense. In fact, many corporations, including Chennai and Hyderabad, they are going in for this concreting, white topping roads because of this economy only. They have found out that this is more economical. They can save on the cost. Yeah. And therefore, it is better to go for white topping. Then the next question from Chiranjeevi is that internal roads in the towns or cities, if the width of the road is between 4 to 7 meters, how can we provide longitudinal joint spacing? Now, if the road is 4 meters or 5 meters or 7 meters, even if it is 3 meters, you can definitely cut it along the length of the road. Cut it every 1 meter or 1.5 meters. Cutting, joint cutting is a very simple affair. I showed you that equipment also. Joint cutting, as I said, it should be not too early, not less than 8 hours after concreting, not after 15-16 hours. Between this, you should cut the road so that it is quite easy to cut the roads. Within, say, a few hours, you can make this joint cutting. That is easy. Whether it is city roads, very narrow roads, that doesn't matter at all. Next, Sajiha Salim has a question. What is your opinion about interlocking concrete block pavements compared to bitumen and concrete? Yes, that is also an excellent alternative. Interlocking paver blocks in Mumbai, there are several roads which are built with interlocking paver blocks, and the work is also speedier and it is much faster compared to the other two. But there are one or two issues with that. You can't use it on highways because whenever the speed of the vehicle is more than 60 kilometers per hour, these interlocking paver blocks are not suggested. That is because it will create discomfort for the drivers. Whereas for city roads, interlocking paver block roads are also a solution. That is also a good solution. Yes. What are the fatigue tests conducted on the hardened concrete? As I said earlier, fatigue test and abrasion tests are conducted to determine the long-term durability of concrete. Now, I did not elaborate it much. Yes, you have to test concrete for its strength parameters. You have to test it for road performance parameters also. That is abrasion test and fatigue test. Both these tests you must do to ensure proper performance. How much Saranya Ullas wants to know how much is the cost of blended cement. Is it possible to construct white topping over cement stabilized granular layer? Yes, I like this kind of questions. Yes, it is possible to do that, and with blended cements you can do that. It is still possible. When you can construct a road with blended cements on the Mathura highway, why can't you construct urban roads with blended cements? IRC code allows the use of blended cements. You can definitely construct even above this cement stabilized granular layer. Then any load transfer devices in full depth construction joints, please. Yes. You are talking of, I assume that you are talking about double bars and tie rods, right? Now, as per IRC, double bars are not required if the thickness of the pavement is less than 200 millimeters. Now, in case of concrete roads, yes, double bars are required and we have to design these double bars. Whereas in case of white topping, the thickness is maximum is 200 millimeters and less than 200 millimeters. Generally, it is 150, 160 millimeters. Therefore, double bars are not required. Whereas tie rods are required. Suppose you are doing white topping for 7 meters, 3.5 meters in one stretch, another 3.5 meters in another stretch. There you have to put tie rods. Tie rods are simple 10 mm, 12 mm rods, each of 2 feet length, 1 feet in each of these two things. The tie rods are there, but there is no double bar. Therefore, that mechanism is not there. Now, yes. Can we go for larger joint spacing in white topping? The answer is no. White topping as a concept, it is for shorter spacing only. If you go for longer spacing, it should be designed as a concrete road as per IRC 58. Whereas in this case, we are designing the road as IRC under IRC 76. Therefore, if you go for small paneled concrete roads, the advantage is the spacing is less, I agree, but then the thickness of the concrete pavement is also very less and it becomes quite economical. Yesterday, can we use white topping in the existing deteriorated pavement? Yes, the answer is yes. Now, yesterday, Dr. Swati Maitra, oh, very good. Good to note Swati Maitra came. She is a very learned professor at IIT Kharagpur. We have a joint project with them. We have executed 1 kilometer of white topping very close to IIT Kharagpur. I am very sure she must have showed you that road photographs also. He is of the opinion that white topping is preferred for low volume of roads. Up to what CVPD white topping is recommended? Oh, I am afraid it is not that it is a solution only for low volume roads. It can definitely be used for high volume roads also. I showed you the photographs of Nice Road, where the commercial vehicles per day is 8,500 CVPD. Therefore, it can definitely be used for high volume roads also, but it has to be designed accordingly. You can't have a 125 millimeter thickness for a very high volume road. It goes up to 170, 180. You should design it for that. whether abrasion between the wheel of vehicle and the top of the road is a matter in black top versus white top, then how we will explain to the public, which is good. Yes, abrasion resistance is fairly good in case of bitumen road also, in case of concrete road also. But one question that people talk about is the wear and tear of these tires. Now on concrete roads, because a flexible tire on a flexible pavement is generally it is felt better than a flexible tire on a rigid pavement. Yes, but then these days, in the past decade or so, even tire manufacturers have modified their tire designs. It is good for concrete roads also. Then one more thing is that the concrete roads, you can achieve better mileage for the diesel or petrol that you use. That I will come to that in my next thing. Now, can we use plastic in white topping? What do you mean by plastic in white topping? Plastic sheet between or use of plastic aggregates in white topping? Plastic aggregates, if you design, you can use it. What I would suggest is instead of plastic aggregates, if you want to achieve sustainability, you can use recycled aggregates. Construction and demolition waste, construction concrete waste, recycled concrete aggregates. These are things you can use it in this to achieve sustainability. Do you recommend vacuum dewatering? It's a good question, but not necessary. Not necessary. It is not specified in the code also. Can precast construction possible in white topping? Then we don't call it as white topping. It is called as precast concrete construction. I wish I'll show you in my next presentation. I will show you. What are the mechanisms available for treating the damages to concrete roads? I am covering it in my next session. For lesser slab thickness, if we don't use double bars in white topping, will it work? Definitely it will work. As I said, below 200 mm thickness, where this double bars are not required. Okay, so these are the things. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you for your nice presentation, sir. I'll please allow me to provide concluding remarks, sir. Then afterwards, we will start next session, sir.
Yeah, we can do that. My request to you, Professor, I would say this audience has been very active in their this thing. I like these questions. I would be happy if you can capture, if there is, if you can capture and send it to me on email, these questions, it would be useful to me. I would be grateful to you.
Yeah, definitely, sir. Definitely do that, sir.
Yeah. Please, you go ahead.
Yeah. Dr. Ramchandra has started his presentation with a beautiful introduction on bituminous and concrete pavements and their advantages as well as disadvantages. Sir nicely explained the concepts of stresses in the pavement due to loads on pavement. Dr. Ramchandra discussed the advantage of constructing concrete overlays as compared to bituminous overlays in terms of service it gives to the road user as well as economics. Sir elaborated various types of white topping and how the stresses varies in bonded and unbonded white topping. Sir emphasizes the additional benefits with white topping with respect to road safety, energy savings, etc. Sir explained the properties of concrete and various tests to be conducted, and the construction aspects of white topping. Sir finally ended his presentation by showing various case studies where overlays were constructed with cement concrete, that is white topping. Sir, once again, we thank you for your wonderful presentation, sir. So, sir, if you want, you take some break, 5 minutes. Otherwise, if you want to continue also, no problem, sir.
I have no problem. I will go as per your suggestion. I can.
Yeah, you can go ahead, sir. No problem.
Yeah. Okay. What we can do is I can take out the second presentation.